A very good evening and a warm welcome to PNB News, coming to you live from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. I am Omoife Peace Osemere. The headlines: retired police officers protest unpaid pensions. Central Bank of Nigeria raises interest rate to curtail Nigeria's inflation. On the foreign scene, World Health Organization updates humanitarian situation in Gaza. And in sports, Delta State gets set to host National Youth Games as Ultimate Fighting Championship and loses one of its best fighters in an auto crash. Details in a moment. Right, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Retired police officers of Nigeria under the contributory pension scheme on Tuesday stormed the National Assembly in Abuja in protest over several months of unpaid pensions. The retirees, representing various state chapters, lamented the severe hardships faced due to the failure of the National Pension Commission to pay their entitlement. The retired police officers are urging the federal government to remove them from the contributory pension scheme. But this is not the first time police retirees have protested. In September 2021, retired officers from 27 states stormed the National Assembly in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, demanding their pension payments. During the 2021 protest, they displayed placards with messages such as NPF pension defrauding police retirees, SOS, that Save Our Soul message. Police officers are dying in penury under the contributory pension scheme, and CPS is a death sentence against police. President Bola Tinubu's proposed a 300% increase in the salaries and allowances of judicial officers or office holders has received the backing of the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Allocation Committee or Commission and Justice Minister Lateef Fagbemi SAN. Also in support of the planned review are the Finance Minister and Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Wole Edun, the National Judicial Council, NJC, and the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA. They okayed the plan during a one-day public hearing on a bill for an act to prescribe the salaries and allowances and fringe benefit of judicial office holders in Nigeria and related matters 2024 by the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters in Abuja. And now, meeting on the ongoing negotiations on new minimum wage has been adjourned till Wednesday after the organized labor rejected the new 54,000 naira minimum wage proposal by the federal government. A highly reliable source who attended the meeting told our correspondent on Wednesday. The Punch had exclusively reported that the federal government upped its offer from its earlier proposed 48,000 naira to 54,000 naira. Tuesday's meeting came as a result of the walkout staged by members of the organized labor following the proposal of 48,000 naira as minimum wage by the federal government during last week's meeting. During that meeting, the organized private sector had also proposed 54,000 naira, while labor insisted on its 615,000 naira living wage demand. When asked if the government side was showing any sign of seriousness, the labor leader said it does not appear so at all. Organized Labor on Monday reiterated its May 31st, 2024 deadline for the implementation of the new minimum wage. The national president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, insisted on a 615,000 naira minimum wage, arguing that the amount was arrived at after an analysis of the current economic situation and the needs of an average Nigerian family of 6. Let's move on now to security matters, where suspected bandits have reportedly killed over 40 persons after they attacked Zurak village in Bashar district of Wase local government area of Plateau State. Our correspondent learned that several houses were also set ablaze by the bandits during the attack, which occurred on Monday evening. Residents of the community who confirmed the incident to newsmen on Tuesday said the incident occurred around 7 p.m. on Monday when people in the community were going about their normal activities, but they could not report the incident due to the poor communication network in the area. A youth leader in the area, Safi Sambo, who also confirmed the incident, said the bandits arrived at the community riding on 2 to 3 motorcycles with sophisticated weapons and started shooting sporadically at everyone. It said more than 40 people have been killed while many others sustained injuries. A resident of the village have fled to neighboring communities to seek refuge. Well, as of yesterday, security personnel had not yet arrived at the community, and at the time of filing this report, spokesman for the State Police Command, DSP Alabo Alfred, had not yet responded to inquiries by newsmen. 6 kidnappers or suspected kidnappers have been captured in Taraba State by troops of 6th Brigade Nigerian Army. The suspects, according to the Acting Assistant Director, 6th Brigade Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Oni Olubondunde, were nabbed in separate operations carried out within the state. It said, acting on a tip-off, troops from the 93 Battalion Subsector 3B OPWS stationed at Forward Operating Base Wukari carried out a well-planned raid in Chinkai village of Wukari local government area. The raid is said led to the apprehension of 2 individuals identified as Usman Gide Ali, aged 25, and Abdurrahman Ahmadu, aged 28. Ademva, the suspects have been on the wanted list of security agencies for their involvement in multiple kidnappings in Wukari and its surroundings. Upon the arrest, the suspect was said to have attempted to bribe the troops with 2 million naira for their release. In another operation in Ibi local government area, troops stationed at Sarikin Kudu have apprehended 4 more suspected kidnappers. The suspects, who were identified as Jafar Banyi, aged 28, Mohammed Ardo, aged 25, Amadou Lawal Shatta, aged 20, and Biyu Ardu, aged 25, have been linked to numerous high-profile abductions in the region. In Kano State now, where the Governor Abba Yusuf has directed the prosecution of a suspected mastermind of last week's setting ablaze of a mosque at Garden Village, Gezawa local government area of the state. The governor vowed not to hesitate to sign the death warrant if the court found the accused guilty and sentenced him to death. The death toll is reported to have reached 15. According to the police, the accused set the mosque on fire while worshippers were inside observing the early morning prayers. Over 20 persons were hospitalized after the incident. In other news, the Kano State House of Assembly has initiated steps to amend the Kano State Emir's appointment and deposition law. This move could pave the way for the return of a deposed 14th Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II. The move followed a motion by Majority Leader Hussein Dalla during Tuesday's plenary session, signaling a potential reversal of the controversial 2019 amendment under former Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. The 2019 amendment fragmented the historic Kano Emirate into 5 and led to Sanusi's dethronement. The current political climate, marked by Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf's electoral victory and his party's commitment of restoring the old order, underscores the renewed push for Sanusi's reinstatement. 1 month before Yusuf assumed office, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwangwaso, leader of the New Nigerian People's Party (NNPP), the ruling party in Kano, had said the issue of the emirate would be reviewed. And ahead of the forthcoming combined 3rd and 4th convocation ceremony of the Federal University Gusau, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Muazu Abubakar Gusau, has made a case for government at all levels to take necessary steps to provide conducive atmosphere for learning and peaceful progress in institutions of higher learning in the country. The Vice Chancellor made the case during a press conference at the university's boardroom as part of activities for the convocation. Correspondent Abdullahi Abdurrahman Chakwa reports.
The Vice Chancellor of Federal University Gusau, Professor Muazu Abubakar Gusau, said inadequate funding and insecurity are the major challenges facing the university. He therefore called on the well-to-do individual to complement the effort of federal government by investing heavily on education, and call on government at all levels to do the needful and ensure peaceful, conducive learning environment.
Federal University Gusau is unique when it comes to insecurity, and Zamfara, where we are as our post, is also, we found ourselves in a unique position. But it's not only in the Federal University. All others have their own challenges, but we have our own. We look at our own. Whether inside town or in the university, my staff and students are always the victims. And I challenge the media to find one and share it so that the stakeholders can assist us.
Samadu Abakar Gusau, while speaking on the condition of the kidnapped female students, said almost all of them were released, and the university management assisted the victims to bridge the gaps of their academic pursuance apart from granting them free tuition, and called on them not to rely on their efforts. The Vice-Chancellor also highlighted some of the developmental projects achieved during his stewardship apart from the success of uplifting the embargo of Petroleum Development Trust Fund (PTDF) for annual project allocation of the university and staff and training development, among others.
Under my stewardship as the third substantive Vice-Chancellor of this university, we recorded modest achievement, some of which are on staff training and development. Our effort.
The third and fourth combined convocation ceremonies is expected to witness the attendance of eminent personality, which among them include President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, while Katsina State Governor Dr. Umaru Dikko Rada will be the guest speaker. The Federal University Gusau is graduating a total number of 2,534 students with 43 first-class honors and 78 third-class, 42 academic sessions. Abdullahi Abdurrahman Chakwa reporting for Gusau, Zamfara State.
Chakwa, thank you for that report. Coming up next is business news. Right, talking business now. The Monetary Policy Committee, MPC of the Central Bank of Nigeria, has increased the benchmark interest rate to 26.25%. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Cardoso, who doubles as the chairman of the Monetary Policy Committee, dropped this hint at the end of the 295th MPC meeting in Abuja. At the March MPC meeting, the benchmark rate had been increased by 200 basis points from 22.75% to 24.75%. The MPC has maintained a hawkish stance since it resumed meetings this year in a bid to tackle Nigeria's persistent inflation. Well, as of April, Nigeria's inflation rate had risen to 33.69%. Joining me now via telephone to discuss this is an economist and also lead researcher at Analytics, Adefolari Olabilekon. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Very good evening to all of you.
Right. This development coming from the Central Bank of Nigeria, one would say that it is not, not news, because a number of analysts, and I recall very clearly we had a conversation about, the state of the nation's economy last week, and you also, raised, concerns that this is most likely going to happen. So here we are, we have it at 26.25%. Now, concerns are already brewing as to what this will portend for the economy. But how much of a concern should this be to, Nigeria and Nigerians?
I think practically we projected this and it has come to pass. And we also need to quickly highlight some of the challenges that will follow the kind of high hawkish MPL that is being happening. Particularly, this is going to affect businesses. It's also going to also mean strangulate individuals who want to collect loans from the bank, as well as discourage credit facilities across all boards, not just at the deposit money bank level, which is commercial bank. You're going to go down. You
So while we have the negative side, how much or what does this portend for the average man on the street? Because you recall also that the first MPC meeting for this year, when the interest rate was hiked, I mean, that brought about or it further heightened, the inflationary pressures that we are dealing with at the moment.
Yes, very correct. And because most businesses are going to the banks to go and borrow money, definitely will add up the cost of paying for their credit. So add it to the price unit of their various goods and services, as well as the unit price of their products. So that's why when you ask what will happen to ordinary man on this, the ordinary man will get the burden of every payment of on credit that credit facility that individual businesses have collected from the bank. So what it means is that by the time a particular businessman or a businesswoman obtains loans from the bank, you that you are going to enjoy the service of that individual. You are going to pay for that person because he has collected facilities to improve his businesses or improve his product. So the burden of that payment will pass on to ordinary person on it. So it's a double tragedy in the sense that it contradicts the fight of inflation that CBN want to fight, because their handle of using monetary policy to fight inflation has not really worked well. That's why we have elaborated and highlighted that we need to have an interlocking, interconnecting of our monetary policy, fiscal policy, as well as our trade policy, all working together for Nigeria.
All right, Adefolarin, no doubt we're going to have a more candid conversation on this tomorrow on news analysis, but let's leave it here for now. Thank you so much for talking to us.
All right, thanks for having me. And a very good night for everyone out there.
Right. Right, you're watching PNB News Live. Coming up next is news from the international front. Well, on the foreign scene, tens of thousands of mourners today waved Iranian flags and portraits of the late President Ibrahim Raisi. Reports say that the mourners had set out from the central square in the northwestern city where Raisi was headed to when his helicopter crashed. And this is as funeral ceremonies for Iranian state dignitaries occur over an extended period of time in several locations. It was gathered that after the procession in Tabriz, the bodies of late Raisi and Amir Abdullahian will be taken to Qum, a city in central Iran said to be of great religious significance, for another ceremony, and then moved to the capital. A larger ceremony is built to take place in Tehran on Wednesday, with Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei expected to lead the prayers with foreign dignitaries in attendance. The UN's Agency for Palestinian Refugees, United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, has suspended the distribution of food in Rafah, citing Israeli attacks on the city and a lack of supplies as reasons for the action. Gaza's health ministry says 85 people have been killed and 200 injured in the latest 24-hour reporting period. In a briefing, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, head of the World Health Organization, says that those supplies were pre-positioned in warehouses and hospitals. The life-saving aid is dwindling fast in Gaza. World Health Organization and partners have managed to deliver small amounts of fuel to hospitals in recent days, but this falls short of the 50 to 60,000 liters of fuel needed each day for health operations. Major crossings into Gaza have been shut since early this month when the Israeli army seized and closed the Rafah crossing with Egypt. Tedros again reiterated his belief that a ceasefire is the only thing that can improve the humanitarian aid situation in Gaza. Right from the foreign scene, now let's head on to the world of sports. Right, in sport, Delta State gets set to host National Youth Games later this year as Ultimate Fighting Championship mourns one of its biggest or best fighters in an auto crash. Rilwan Musaga, who is already standing by for details of these and more. Hello, Rilwan.
The 8th edition of Nigeria's National Youth Game has been scheduled to held in Asaba, in the Delta State capital, south of Nigeria, from the 10th to the 20th of September 2024. Meanwhile, officials of the Ministry of Sport and the Management Committee of Delta State Sports Commission met last week in Asaba to conclude arrangement for the 8th National Youth Games 2024. The stakeholders at the meeting expressed great appreciation to Governor Sharif Abore-Buari of Delta State, as well as Minister of Sport Senator John Ono, for their unalloyed commitment and contributions to the development of Nigerian youth. The meeting expressed several issues and it also approved the September 10 to 20, 2024 date for the 8th edition of the NYC. Delta State is the defending champion of the National Youth Games. Nigerian Golden Eaglets coach Garba Manu has insisted that the team must beat Togo to secure a place in the next round of the championship. After playing goalless against Burkina Faso in the opening group game, the Golden Eaglets recorded its first win in the second match with a 1-0 win over Niger Republic. And now to tennis, where Ndemore was on the brink of a first round defeat by Yannick Anfan to Geneva Open before play was suspended because of bizarre weather condition. The former world number 1 was trailing 7-5-4-1 in Switzerland when rain started to fall and gust of winds blew white polling on the court. Play was cancelled for the day shortly after Morris' match was rescheduled for later today, not before 12 noon. Former UFC flyweight Jean Herrera has died at the age of 33. Herrera made his mixed martial arts debut in 2011 and had 13 fights across a 7-year career, with 4 of those coming in the UFC. The Colombian reportedly died following a motorcycle accident external in Tampa, Florida. May his gentle soul rest in peace. Now we'll move straight to female football, where Australian striker Sam Kerr has officially been ruled out of the 2024 Paris Olympic as she recovers from an anterior cruciate ligament tear. The 30-year-old was injured during the Chelsea training camp in January. Announcing a squad for Australian pre-Olympic friendlies, Matilda coach Tony Gustafsson said Kerr would not return in time for the game in July. And that's all on sports.
All right, Ridwan Musa Gauza, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed with the latest in the world of sport. Coming up next is the weather report. All right, that brings us to the end of the news tonight. But just before I go, a recap of the news. You heard that retired police officers today stormed the National Assembly in Abuja to protest unpaid pensions. Central Bank of Nigeria has raised the interest rate to curtail Nigeria's inflation. On the foreign scene, the World Health Organization has given us an update on the humanitarian situation in Gaza. In sports, Delta State would be hosting